blastmusic247.com. We're changing the industry one artist at a time.
Welcome to Moments with Myra, Season 2, the space where stories are felt, journeys are honored, and purpose is poured into every conversation. I'm your host, Myra, and today we are tapping into a life of service, resilience, and movement. My guest today is not just saving lives, he's living one on purpose, traveling across cities and communities, answering calls in moments of crisis, and showing up when people need it the most. We welcome traveling paramedic Abdullah Heath. Abdullah, thank you so much for being here and sharing your journey with us today.
Hello, how you doing?
Good. So take us back to the beginning. What inspired you to become a paramedic?
Lord, we go back there. So
Yeah.
I graduated college in 2001 and then went back to school in 2000, went back and got my master's. Um, and then I was working in security, law enforcement in DC, and I was dating a nurse, and she used to tell me all these stories. And so it got me interested in the medical field. So in 2010, I went to school, I went to test college. You know, one of those TV commercial things talking about, oh yeah, you go back to school. So I did that, I went to test, and I did medical assistant. Did it for pretty much the whole year of 2010 because it was a 9-month course, and I finished. I rocked it. I fell in love with it. Like I did my first 2 courses, I aced them. Um, and yeah, so I just went and enjoyed it and fell in love with it. So then I was doing that. I went to internships and all of that when I finished. And then in 2020, I started doing security again. But in 2016, um, I was working at Georgetown Hospital in the PACU. And so one of the nurses used to be a DC firefighter. And he was just telling me stories and it got me interested. And so while I was working at Georgetown, I did the tuition reimbursement, went to school and became an EMT. And then a year later, did paramedic. And it'll be 10 years in June that I've been in EMS.
Wow, I can't believe it's been 10 years because I remember when you first started. That's crazy.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That is crazy.
Yeah. So I started working in DC. I was doing transport, working 911, and worked in Baltimore. Just started in 2021. Yeah, because it was right after January 6th. I actually working January 6th. Working January 6th at Georgetown because I had worked on I was working on a construction site at Georgetown Hospital. I was like, that was a full circle moment. So I was working at Georgetown Hospital when January 6th happened. And I was like, I'm sitting there, I was like, yo, talking to my coworker, I was like, what's all these ambulances? Like all these sirens going on? What is all going on? Come to find out,
Mhm.
they riding over at the damn Capitol building. And so probably like a month later, I started doing travel. I started doing travel paramedic. So then I went to New Mexico, went to Iowa. And I loved doing that. Then I came back to Maryland. Ugh. And I worked in Virginia for a while before I moved to Las Vegas. Well, first I moved to California. I drove from Maryland to Oakland, California. Worked in Oakland, California for about 3 months. Then I moved to Vegas, and I worked in Vegas for about 6 months. And then I started doing travel again. Then I did a contract. This took me to Alaska, and I worked in Alaska for 3 years, 9 months at a time, on a deep sea fishing boat out in the Bering Sea. And yeah, so now I just got finished working in South Dakota last month, and now I am looking at either going to Wisconsin or Florida within the next few weeks.
Okay. So, how does working in different cities or environments impact the way you provide care?
It really doesn't. Sorry, tired, a little tired. It really doesn't impact it. It's pretty much EMS is the same, pretty much worldwide. You're there to help people. The only thing is really there's not really much different. What it comes down to is your scope. And different places have pretty much have you're allowed to do more things or you do less things. But the job is pretty much all the same no matter where you go. It is you're there for an emergent situation to help whoever is in trouble, in need of it right then and there. And you just do what you're trained to do. And working in different locations just gives me the opportunity to learn from other perspectives and
Mhm.
the whole the whole DEI of it all, the whole diversity of it all.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
learn different ways because no matter what, we all have different experiences. We all come from different backgrounds. And being in rural areas, being in remote areas, being in populated areas, and being in urban areas, there's different the job is all the same, but it's different ways that you tackle it. And just being in different locations is a different scope because some places you can do more. Like that's one of the selling points that took me to think about the job in Wisconsin is because I'll be able to do more that I would be able to do as a street medic. Like I'll be working in the ER somewhat and still being on the street, but I'll be gaining experience that things I never would have done, like putting in a central line, doing chest tubes, doing all these things that I would never get to do as a street medic, but I would gain that knowledge and an experience that I could use. Because ultimately my goal is to get into education because I like teaching. I did it for a while when I was teaching CPR and advanced life-saving skills to doctors and nurses and other medical professionals when they would come to renew their certification or get brand new certification. And I'm always a fan of that aha moment. So that's ultimately
Mm.
what I want to get into is education. Because there's not a lot of black paramedics
Yeah.
in EMS. You have a lot of minority EMTs, but there's a different level of responsibility when it comes to paramedics because you're literally in charge of the whole scene. You
Mhm.
make the decisions. You're not as hands-on as you would be as an EMT. So you have to be able to step back. You have to be omnipresent. So you have to be able to see everything that's going on and make the best decision based off of your knowledge, training, and all of that to reach the desired outcome. And sometimes the outcome is not what everybody desires. And so you have to be the one to take that responsibility on also as the one to be like, you did everything you can, still didn't get the outcome that you wanted. And then you got to be able to be accountable to the family, to whatever governing body is in charge of your service. So that's a lot of responsibility to take on, and I don't take it lightly. And so that's why I want to ultimately get into education and be able to bring more minorities to that level. Because in EMS, in the US, we make up 11% of the US population. In
Mhm.
EMS, minorities make up 8% of all providers in EMS, and only 3% out of that 8% that are in EMS are paramedics. So
Okay.
3%. That is very
That is
low.
a very low number. Yeah, that is a very low number. Now, I know we were talking about you moving around and going to different communities. How do you adjust emotionally and mentally to new teams and new communities?
It's it can be you just have to have that adaptability. I wouldn't necessarily call it code switching because right now these two opportunities I have to go to Florida or Wisconsin, I'm going to be quite possibly the only minority working there.
Mhm.
So it's kind of a culture shock. You just have to, be assertive and just be yourself. And, try not to get bogged down into that I'm the only one. But you also have to be cognizant that you are the only one but don't let that pressure get to you like I never feel like I'm defending the whole Afro American race.
Yes.
I never feel like that. You can't feel like that. You got to go in here and be yourself and be you and establish yourself from the door. Like let people know that you know what you're doing and let your work speak for you, because no one can never take away what I've done. I worked hard to get here, and yes, granted, we do have to work twice as hard to get half as far as other people, but you always have to have that mindset that is what's going on, because the world is what the world is. We can't change it. It is what it is. It's been like this forever. But you can do what you have to do, and always just own your own space. That's pretty much what you do. Own your own space. Always be respectful. I'm big on respect. Always follow the chain of command. Even when you try it, you try. If you have any conflict, follow the chain of command. If it doesn't work, then you got to figure out some other way to just figure out some other way.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but I love when you were saying you got to own your own space, because so many people don't realize how important that is, no matter the situation, or like you said, if you're the only one, the only person of color, or only male, female, whatever, ultimately it's up to you. And I love that, own your own space. I'm going to have to steal that from you, because I really love that saying. I really do.
Try, every once in a while, a broken clock is right twice a day, right? A broken clock is right twice a day. So, always got one. I give you one. I got one.
Okay. So what are some misconceptions people have about paramedics or emergency responders, you think?
Girl, let me tell you, everybody feels like just because you show up in an ambulance, you're going to be seen quicker. That is the biggest false information that is out there. And I just wish that people would understand the fact it still has to be triage.
Yeah.
The only thing that happens if you show up in an ambulance versus you walking in the front door of a hospital is you gonna get triaged faster.
Yeah.
That is the only difference that's gonna happen with you versus you showing up in the ambulance than you walking through the front door. You're gonna get triaged faster. Because if I bring you into the hospital for whatever reason, if you coming in here because you had a cough for a week or so, or you just been feeling, you hurt your toe, your arm hurting, whatever, and you call 911 for me to take you, and I get you there, and I'm gonna give my report to the nurse. I'm gonna give my report to the charge nurse. Tell her what's going on. It's been many times that I have brought people to the hospital, and I've taken them to the front lobby. They get off my stretcher, put them in a wheelchair, and take them to the front lobby. Mm-hmm. And I tell the charge nurse up front, little Susie over there, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. All right, cool. And I'm gone. And now you just got a $300 bill because you wanted to come in the ambulance and versus... I tell you, that is the biggest misconception. This is a running joke that we have in EMS, is when you pull up to a house and they got a car dealership sitting out front. What I mean by that is you pull up to a house, you got 7 cars sitting out front. Could nobody take you to the hospital?
Exactly.
7 cars. Now, personally, I don't know if all the cars are working, but if they got tags on them, and I'm like, maybe there's a good possibility that this vehicle is working, but you got 7 vehicles in front, a car dealership in front of your house. Could nobody take you to the hospital? Or you go into the house and you got the whole family in the house. Mm-hmm. And yet no one can take you to the hospital. I'm like, that is the biggest thing. It's like because everybody is operating off this whole misconception that because you show up in the ambulance, you're going to be seen quicker. Like I said, if I bring you to the hospital and I give the charge nurse my report, and then, sometimes you get left out and it'd be like, all right, put them in room such and such, because it's kind of slow. Mm-hmm. And, you can go seen. But those are rare. That's not an everything occurrence, because it'll be sometimes you go there and the hospital is slammed. Mm-hmm. And even us, and and when the hospital is slammed like that, it may cause level 0. Level 0 in EMS means there are 0 resources. That's not resources, but it's 0 units available for transport. So whenever you're out and you hear somebody say, "Oh, we're at level 0," that's what level 0 means. There's 0 responding units. Now you may call and somebody will show up, but it might be a fire engine. They can't transport you. Mm-hmm. It may be a ladder truck. They can't transport you. That means there's 0 transport units. that'll take somebody to the hospital. That's level 0. Doesn't mean there's 0 resources. It just means there's 0 transport units because the hospitals are so busy that they're slammed, and so we're hanging on the wall. And hanging on the wall means we're just waiting with our patient so that so we can transfer them off our stretcher, off out of the wheelchair, whatever, and give them over to the hospital. Now that that comes down to a moral thing versus a legal thing. Because good old EMTALA says that once you get onto the hospital grounds, the hospital is now responsible for your care, no matter what your situation is, social, economic, whatever you're able to be seen by a hospital if you get on hospital grounds. So the hospital grounds start from that little bump thing when you go up into the driveway. Boom, boom, you bump up onto into the driveway. So technically now the hospital that's their patient, no matter what. That's why you see in movies and whatever. It may be over dramatized, but that's why you see people pull up to the hospital and throw people out on the ground and roll out. It can be done. And we can do the same thing because legally we can do that too, because it's just morally it's not the right thing to do. Legally, we can pull up, throw you out, and roll out, which is kind of like what we did during COVID, because they didn't want us to come into hospitals. And so what we would do, we would call the hospital, be like, we're on our 5 minutes out. So nurses would come outside with a stretcher, and we just do the transfer right outside in the parking lot. And take them off our stretcher and put them on the bed, and then we drive off to get our unit clean and decontaminated. And they just take the patient on the side. It was like, stop and go. So we do stop, drop, and roll out. That's exactly what we do.
I laugh at that because I know when I was a case manager in the emergency room of a trauma hospital, we used to hear people talk about that all the time and then get mad because they got a $300, $400, $500 bill from EMS. But we're like, why didn't you just come in a car? Like, you're not going to be ahead of a trauma. You're not going to be head of a GSW. You're not going to be head of a heart attack. So
no, you're not. Because people had that misconception thinking that just because you show up in an ambulance, you're going to be seen quicker. No, you just get triaged quicker. Yeah. It's the only thing. You get triaged quicker. And all triages, they take your vital signs and determine if you're an emergent or not. If you're not emergent,
you go to the lobby.
You go to the lobby. And then you wait with the rest of the people that came through the front door.
Exactly.
And you wait in line of how emergent it is. Because like you said, if you come in for a stub toe, you come in for a toothache, you come in for a headache that you had for a little while, but nothing is showing that it's like major serious or whatever, you're gonna go and you're gonna wait because you're not gonna beat out the heart attack. You're not gonna beat out severe trauma. You're not gonna beat out. You're not, and it's just, and people don't understand that. And then but it's inherently that we're all selfish, and that's the whole thing when it comes down to when we're running lights and sirens. How many times I've been in the back and people be like, "Wish they get out the way. Why don't they move for y'all?" I'll be like, in my head, I'm like, you know what? If you weren't back here, you'd be out there doing the same thing. You'd be holding us up. You'd be driving slow because the 2 seconds I need to pass you is 2 seconds of your life you will never get back again. All I need is 2 seconds. And those 2 seconds are so detrimental to your life that you don't want to move. You want to hold us up. And that's the other thing. It's like, and all lights and sirens it's not some big old thing. All it is just a simple request is for you to move out of the way. Because we have something serious going on and we need to get to it or we need to get them to the hospital. That's all it is. It's just a humble request. Just move out of the way for a couple seconds. Seconds. It ain't minutes. It
is literally seconds. And I always think too, Abdullah, that what if they were going to do something for one of my family members or something, So I always put myself in that position and immediately get out of the way. But I think sometimes too, when you work kind of on the front lines too, you have a better understanding of the situation. Now, talking about being on the front lines, how do you take care of your mental health while caring so much for others?
So what I do is, it's weird because people ask me all the time, I drive Lyft. I do to get my mental health because this job has taken me to that point. And so what I do is when I'm not, I do something completely opposite. Like I drive Lyft. I live in Vegas right now, and I get my passengers, and they ask me, "Oh, is this your full time job?" Like, no, this is my part time. It's like, what do you do? I said, I'm a paramedic. I'm a travel paramedic. And a lot of people have never heard of that before. I said it's like travel nursing, same thing. Ever since COVID, every medical professional travels now because they need people, and local people don't want to do it. So you get people that go all over and travel to do the work. Because it's lucrative also, because it's the stipend. What makes it more lucrative is a stipend. It's tax-free money the government can't take. But anyway, so I drive Lyft. So I tell people I do this because the only decision I have to make, am I pick this person up or am I not? That's the only. It's less. I feel like you have to in this career, in any kind of service job, especially when you deal with people at their worst moment, because the only positive moment you deal with EMS is if somebody's giving birth.
Yeah.
Other than that, people call you on their worst day. So you have to find something that makes you not do completely opposite of what you're doing. So I drive Lyft. I shoot pool. I go bowl. I write poetry. Do something completely opposite of what you do in your career so that you don't have to use that brain power, that you don't have to be under that stress of making these big decisions, because literally I make decisions that are life or death. That literally is the weight of it. I have to make choices, and I make these decisions, and I have to live with the outcomes and be accountable for the choices I make. Because what's funny is I have a friend who's a nurse, and she makes fun of me. She calls my job a hobby because I have so much responsibility, but I don't get paid for the responsibility, which is the whole field of EMS. And it's not just in the service industry in general, because educators do the same thing. We do what we do because we love it. We don't do it because we feel like we're going to get rich one day. You do it because you absolutely love it. So she makes fun of me talking about my little hobby, because I can do more than she can as a nurse. I can do more. I can do a whole lot more, but nurses get paid more than we do. And she'd be like, well, that's why she calls it a hobby, because you may have more responsibility, but you get less paid. And I'm like, I know that, but I still love what I do. I love it. And you just have to find something that takes you out of your normal so that you can reset. Like, I take time in between contracts so that I can build, I call it my compassion jar back, because this job will wear you down. And if you allow it to do so, you will find yourself in these dark places where we in EMS, police and fire, have high suicide rates, because it's hard to find people that can understand what you deal with on a daily basis. That's why a lot of people date within that sphere of people, because they know what you're going through.
They understand.
They understand what you're going through, because it's hard to see. Because my second marriage was to a financial person, and they're not going to understand. Just like I'm not going to be able to understand you balancing millions of dollars and talking about accounts receivable, accounts payable, and all of that. Well, I can't sit here and tell you, but then I can't sit here and tell you that how I had to do compressions on this person for like 40 minutes before we even got a pulse back again, or we had to go into this building and go get this person that didn't take their medication, and now they're diabetic, and their sugar is 0, and they're acting crazy, and you're trying to get an IV line while they're swinging on you. Or you pull up to an MVC, a motor vehicle collision, and you're over there, and the person in the car is flipped over 4 times, and airbags are all deployed, and you're trying to extricate them out the vehicle, and you got like a case of beer bottle cans and whatever in the driver footwell down there where the gas pedal and all that is. And it's like, you don't want to judge, but I'm like, you clearly know what was going on. And so you just have to, and then you over here, and they're fine, while the other car over here had the fucking, what do you want to say, the school bus where 4 kids are now dead, and the driver of this car over here is completely unscathed, and you just have to, rationalize like this is what happens, and you got to take all that on, and so it can make you get dark. Like people always talk about our callous and gallous humor that we have in EMS, but it is because we know that sometimes you just have to laugh through this. You have to laugh through the darkness.
Yes.
And people from the outside think it's like, y'all weird. Like, ugh.
They have no
you find
clue.
it funny? It's not funny.
They have no clue. And it's truly, truly like a family too, because even in the capacity that I worked in case management and social work in the emergency room, still just being in the emergency room, it's a family. You have to become a family because we see things that a regular person wouldn't be able to handle, so you have to find some kind of way to kind of, like you said, rationalize it in your mind, and make it okay. So your humor can become a little bit dark. We have to fake it till we make it sometimes.
That's it. That's it. And it is because when I would with my wife, I would come home and I would tell her, she was like, she's like, you don't gotta go into the detail. Just give me the broad stroke because I know you need to talk about what's going on, but you don't gotta give me the details because what it is. It's just hard. Like you sit there and you tell somebody like, yeah, I did a motor vehicle collision. 5 people. 4 people didn't make it. And then that's all. But then there's more to it though.
Yeah.
But that's all they can handle.
Yeah.
And then so it just makes it hard because I'm like, well, there's more you want to say, but people from the outside can't fully understand.
They can't handle it. Yeah.
They can't handle it, or they don't want to handle it because it can get graphic. It's graphic in the stuff you see. It is like you done been up there and my very first call as a paramedic after being cleared, the very first call I get is to a motor vehicle collision, car versus tree, and 3 people in the vehicle. The driver and then the passenger survived because literally the tree went in between the car. But then there's a person in the back seat, and I arrived on scene just before fire was taking them out the car, and they were about to start CPR. I went over there to look. I'm like, no, there's no point. Half the man's head is missing. There's no point to try. Because legally, once you start, you got to do it for at least 20 minutes. That's most jurisdictions. You got to do it for 20 minutes. So we're not going to start it because we're not going to be pumping on a dead body. It's asinine. Clearly, you have clearly no signs of life. Now, if you think the person might be, but I'm like, no, half his head is missing. Clearly, no signs of life. We're not going to pump on a dead body for 20 minutes. That was my very first call, very first, and I'm like, that it just calls stick with you. And what's so, I don't want to say, it's not irritating. It's just difficult. Is that when I do tell people what I do, they be like, "Oh man, you seen some interesting. What's the worst? What's the most interesting thing you've seen? What's the weirdest thing you see?" I'm like, I don't. Everything is what it is. Like I don't sit back and be like, "Man, that's the most interesting call I've ever had," or "That's the worst call I've ever had." No, I don't. And it's like people don't understand. They don't. So it's like ignorance. They mean well. They don't know really what they're saying because I don't have an interesting call. I don't have like my worst call or the best call. All the calls are the calls. The situation is the situation. Like
in that situation for the outsiders, I do believe truly that ignorance is bliss. And I think that it has to be for them. And I think that that's a good thing because, like I said, if they really, really had the opportunity to see firsthand that stuff, a lot of people wouldn't be able to handle it at all. A lot of people wouldn't be able to handle it.
And I hear it all the time. It was like, man, I'm proud. Thank you for your service. I don't know how you can do it. I'm like, you just do it. It's a calling. It literally to serve is a calling. I mean, it don't help that my name means servant of God. Abdullah means servant of Allah. So I mean, it doesn't hurt there the fact that I'm just here. I'm here to serve. I'm here to serve. It's like goodness. I mean, goodness is a gift or a curse that I was blessed with his name. I'm like, I don't know. but I've always, even when I was doing law enforcement, I've always just loved to serve and help. And I feel like this just was another aspect of that when I got into EMS, and I'm like,
Mhm.
I love it. And and people, when I talk about it, people just, they know, they can tell, like, man, you really love what you do. I'm
Mhm.
like, I do. I can talk about it all the time. I talk about it all day, every day. I just love what I do. Even with the dark moments of this career, I still love what I do. I
Mhm.
just love being able to help and being there to be that light in the dark, or to be, to help people on that last mission of their life. And it's
Mhm.
just, I've yet to be there to deliver a child, so I haven't had that moment yet, but still got time,
That's
because
right.
I love this career, and I just love what I do, and I'm just, that's it. And even with all the negativity with it, because it's funny, because I had this conversation with one of my passengers the other day, and I was like, we was just talking. It was like, yeah, never understand why people get so upset with fire and EMS. Like, we're literally here to help you. We're not law enforcement. We're not going to lock you up. We're not going to take anything from you. We may take the hint of death away from you if we can, but I'm not here to take your liberty, your freedom away. Like I said, I don't care. Like, when I tell people, like, I don't care whatever you do. Like, if you drink, you get high, you whatever, just tell me so I know how to appropriately treat you and help you.
Exactly.
I don't care. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not. I don't care what you did. I'm like, I just need to know what it is that you did so I can help you.
So that we can help you properly.
Help you properly. But I'm like, but so many people have this negative, they get so mad with fire and EMS. I'm like, we literally are here to help you, not taking nothing from you. We're literally
Let
here
me
to help
tell
you.
you. Let me tell you, honey, I understand. And like I said, being in an emergency room, not with you guys, but even me as a social worker that's trying to come in and help and line up services and help you with your bill and all of that. And that's what it is. They feel like that we, when the whole community works together in order for them to get locked up, get in trouble, whatever. I don't care anything about any of that. I just need to know what your needs are so that I can get you help with this bill or whatever it is that you need. So I feel you 100% on that. So
That's
now,
yeah.
along those lines, what advice would you give someone considering a career in emergency services?
To research, to
Mhm.
find out what's all involved. Because it is, and you really have to be able to love what you do. And I would tell anybody, when you're getting into it, to do all aspects of it, because different aspects of EMS, there's different avenues you can take. Like, whenever you start out as an EMT, which is the basic level. And I would tell anybody getting into EMT to do transport and do 911, because 911 is going to be the adrenaline side of it. That's, lights and sirens, run up in the
Mhm.
houses because somebody, GSW, all that. That's the adrenaline side of it. And then you have the transport side. That's the side where you're taking people from the hospital to home, or to the nursing home, or from hospital to hospital, facility to facility. That's where you build up your patient interaction skills.
Mhm.
That's where you build up how to talk to people, and how to empathize with people in those situations, because you spend more time with them. 911, you're not gonna spend much time. You literally, once you drop them off at the hospital and walk back out the doors, you're pretty much done with these people. Where you had transport, it's not glamorous. It's hard. It's a lot, because transport, they make money on transport. So the more
Mhm.
transports they can get, that's how much the more money the company can get paid. So but the transport aspect of it is good, because you build that patient interaction skill up. You learn how to talk to people. You learn how to listen, and that's how you be able to be. That's how you become a more well-rounded EMS provider, because you have all those, the thrill and the adrenaline is great. It burns you out, because 911, because everybody calls 911 now for everything from the stub toe. I don't People call me because they got cramps. This one kid in high school called me one year because he cramped up when he had at football. He came home and he had leg cramps. I was like, you drink enough water? He's like, I ain't drink a lot of water. I'm like, sir, that's why. So, I mean, people call, or you get the routine call at 3 a.m. because little Miss Susie is lonely, and and everybody knows that you're in the station and the bells go off, the tones drop, whatever, and then you hear the address, and I'm like, oh, that's Miss Susie's house. It's 3 a.m. You trying to sleep, but it's 3 a.m. and it's Miss Susie. She calls every other day around the same time, and you go there, and it's just Miss Susie need help going to the bathroom because she's there by herself because her family has pretty much left her alone, and they're living their own lives, and they check on her once a week, once a month, every 2 weeks, or whatever, and she's lonely, and this is her only contact with people because she knows if she calls 911, we're gonna come.
Somebody's gonna show up.
Somebody's gonna show up, and because her family's not showing up, but she knows if she calls 911, somebody's gonna show up for her. And
absolutely,
that's the whole thing. You literally have, when you want to get into it, you have to love what you're gonna do because it is, and know that to love what you have to do, and know that you're not gonna get rich from this job. It's a career truly of service. And truly, you have to love it. Because I love it so much, I volunteer doing it. That's another way. Because so when anybody that wants to do it, like, I commend you because it is a calling. It is a special calling because, again, you're not going to get rich. It's going to be stressful. And you just have to lean on your brothers and sisters in the field. Yes. Like, I can go anywhere in the world. And, I may not know, but EMS is global. And even though we may speak different languages, but we all know EMS, we all know service, we all know we're here to help others. And you can go anywhere in the world and you can tell people you're an EMT, you're a paramedic, and they will know what you are, and they will be your brothers and your sisters. And it's a global family, and it just is because it is a calling, it is special, and it's just a special calling that you have to have.
It's a beautiful thing. Now, as we're getting ready to close, I did want to ask you, how was it when you were out on the boat? Because some of your pictures and stuff that you posted out there in the water was absolutely amazing.
Oh, I loved it. I used it for what it was because I needed a reset because I had a lot of stuff going on personally in my life, and I needed a reset. And being out there isolated like that, it's what I needed, and that helped me to get back to my compassion jar to fill back up again. All of that. It was what I needed to be out there alone and work on and to love me again and to find me again. And so it was great. It was beautiful. It's an experience I needed. Everything in my life, I regret nothing. The good and the bad, the ugly and the indifferent, everything I've gone through, choices I made. I live a life with no regrets. It's hard, but as I was taught by my grandparents, anything in life worth having is worth working for. Because I feel like when you're handed things, the same appreciation is not behind it. Because it seems like it was easy, it was simple. Oh, I got it. Okay. You don't treat it the same way. And
you don't take good care of it, because you got it so easily.
Yeah, and so that means it's easily replaceable. Like, if it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah, but no big deal.
You have it when you work for it. That's why with me, it took me 3 times to pass my national paramedic certification. So that's why I fight so hard to keep it, and because I don't risk it for nothing. Because I worked hard to get it, I work even harder to keep it. Because the hard part is keeping it. Because it's a lot of things out here, and also, like I said, the way the world is, and which is another thing when it comes down to the cultural differences, is you go into places that some people that look like me and you aren't supposed to be in. And so when you go into these places and people look at you, and plus when you, like, in my level as a paramedic, a lot of people feel like I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be doing this. So again, that's what it comes down to. You got to own your space because I'm here. I worked hard to get here, and I'm not gonna let you take me out of here without a fight. So
Exactly.
because I own my space, stand your ground. Stand your ground. Because this is my space. I worked hard to get here. Same way as that you feel like this is your house and you want to do everything to protect it. This is my career and I'm gonna do everything to protect it. So that's just what it is.
Own your space. I can't tell you how powerful that statement is. And I know to some people it might seem like such a simple phrase, but when you really, really think about it, and you think about just everyday life and you showing up and owning your space, I mean, you're unstoppable. So I just really, really think that's beautiful. I might have to put that on a t-shirt. If I do,
I was thinking the same thing.
We need to talk about that. Now, as we're wrapping up, what is one message you want the listeners to carry with them after hearing your story?
It's just own your own space. That's pretty much what it is. It's because, it is what it is out here, especially the way the administration is right now that we have. I'm like, this job, if you're in it, you're supposed to see nothing. Just like justice is supposed to be blind, EMS is supposed to be blind also. And you do it and just do it and always own your space and respect everyone. Because if you respect everyone, and respect yourself, owning your own space also means people are supposed to respect your space.
Yes.
Because if I come in here respectful and I talk to you like you're a person and don't make you feel like you're less than anything, all I'm asking is you do the same thing.
Yeah.
Give me the same respect that I give you. I don't care what you got going on. I done been in $1 million homes. I done been in cardboard boxes.
Yeah.
In these 10 years I've been in this field, I've been all these places and I've seen all these things. I don't care what you have because it ain't helping me none. And I'm not benefiting from anything that you have. And I'm not feeling less than, or I'm not feeling greater than because I may have more than what somebody else has. I'm here to help and serve. And the only thing is just always remember, just own your own space. Don't let no one make you feel smaller or bigger than anyone else, because we're all people.
Yes.
No matter what, we're all people, and everybody just deserves the simple amount of respect. That's it. Like, I don't care who you choose to love. I don't care who you want to live and what you want to live as in this world. I'm gonna respect you, and I'll ask you to do the same to me.
And
because
I think
I got no heaven or hell to put you in.
That's right. That's right. And I think that is so important. Again, just like the phrase own your own space, stuff that seems so simple, but some people just don't have the common sense to get it, So I think as we close out, it's important for you guys to remember that no matter what situation you're in, make sure that you're showing up for yourself 100% and that you are owning your own space.
That's it.
Abdullah,
that's the only thing that we actually can control is our own space. I can't control how you feel about me. You can't control how I feel about you. That's it. But I can control what I do.
That's right.
And where I am. And that's it. And all I ask is to respect that, because I'm going to respect your space, respect mine.
Well, thank you so much for your service, your honesty, and your heart. Your journey reminds us that purpose isn't always easy, but it is always meaningful. Everyone listening, take a moment today to appreciate the people who show up in life's most critical moments, and maybe even check in on your own purpose and how you're showing up in the world, and if you're owning your own space. This has been Moments with Myra, where every conversation is a moment and every moment matters. Until next time, stay grounded, stay grateful, and stay open to the journey. Have a good evening.
Very now, I am active. I am present. Very now,
Gratitude. I've woken up to see another day. It's time to stretch, then meditate. 5 in the morning and young still asleep. Got my workout and I'm brushing my teeth. It's time to study, it's turning 6. They young in their room, still sleeping like bricks. Pray to my spirit God, need an assist. Spirit God told me I'm being too strict. Yelling and screaming too much. Each moment seems like a fuss. Adrenals out of sequence, frequency frequently. So I've been seeking the secrets of us. Spirit God told me I stay on the move and don't make enough room for some breathing and touch, but we can adjust. Spirit God told me to be sure I'm sleeping by dusk and trust, cause you gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. No one else can do it for you, king. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. No one else can do it for you, queen. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. No one else can do it for you, king. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. You need some time to do yoga. Tell other priorities to move over. Know who you are when you sober. Put down the liquor, put down the doja just for a day. If it's too hard, you're nowhere close to yourself, you're too far. Some of us stay on the bottom like tar. Some of us rise up as high as a star. Some of us stay in a melancholy state of mind, looking up and don't try at the bar. Which one of you? 1, 2, or 3? You and yourself need to come to agree. Only opinion that matters is your inner chatter, and that's how it has to just be. Well, yours and the Lord's, of course, but God is what's happening above. Down here, you gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. No one else can do it for you, king. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. No one else can do it for you, queen. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. No one else can do it for you, king. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself. No one else can do it for you. What's your perception when you look in the mirror and see your reflection? Do you see royalty and perfection? Do you feel loyalty and connection? Do you feel like you're favored with blessings? You're greater than, do you feel less than? What's your biggest fears? What brings you to tears? Your peers, it appears no affection. Or do you feel stressed from the way people looked as you left cause you came with aggression? Or is it the fame and protection you seek that deplete you, defeat you, depression? This song is a pill that I'm giving that's too hard to swallow from deep indigestion, but I hope it leaves an impression and keeps you progressing. The message is you gotta love. You gotta love. No one else can do it for you, king. You gotta love. You gotta love. No one else can do it for you, queen. You gotta love. No one else can do it for you, king. You gotta love. You gotta love. No one else can do it for you, queen.